Sometimes, if you listen really hard, you can almost hear it.
Our first ever instant star is...
You're it, girl. You're the real thing.
That moment your life changes.
It's about a girl who is just about to fly off and see the world.
Forever.
Jude Harrison!
Hello and welcome to The Breakdown, an Instant Star Rewatch podcast. We are finally back after however many months hiatus. And as always, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host Sam.
And I'm joined by the beautiful Chloe.
And today we are recapping Season 2, Episode 10, Problem Child. Original air date, April 21st, 2006. I think we both have similar feelings about this episode, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yes.
What was it like to rewatch this episode?
This is one of those episodes where I'm like, I thought I liked it, and then I rewatched it, and I'm like, oh, I only like certain points.
Yeah, this episode annoys me because I love the song, but I just don't like the episode. It's just, I think after 209, which is obviously probably the best episode of the whole season, anything would be hard to top 209. But this just feels like a miss for me.
I definitely agree.
So the synopsis is Jude flunks her music midterms, Jamie worries about being cool, and Jude visits an elementary school for publicity. I mean, yeah, that's basically the episode.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the recap?
Sure. So the episode starts with Jude and Speed in music class. They write midterms and get them back. In the hallway, Speed asks if he's still on her hug list, and she says, yeah, she's just been busy. Reminds him they just took midterms, and he reminds her that he just found her locked up with Tommy Hugh. She basically tells him not to worry and asks how he did on the test. He got an A, but she got an F. On the way out, she throws the test away and says, "Scores for losers." At G major, Portia tells her that they had Thompson to style her album. After a failed meeting with him, Jude finds out her test and Scores for Losers quote are going to be, sorry, I can't read my own writing apparently, going to be on the Scores newspaper front page and column, in a column that's read around the world. That night, she's at dinner with her dad, who the guidance counselor emailed about Jude's grades. So her dad said they will get her a tutor, her choice. The next day, Quest is going to let her pick which mic she wants to use before she's called away. She sees and asks Tommy if they can talk. They are interrupted and have to leave before he can answer. They go to Dace's elementary school to give away instruments to the music department. Jude also does a Q&A when a girl says she wants to write songs and what she should do when people don't like them. Jude tells her, "Sorry, hun, you better get used to it." Then on the bus back to G major, Tommy confronts her about her answer. Jude goes back to the school the next day by herself and teaches the kids how to write a song. They write "How I Feel." Helen, the little girl songwriter and teacher, brings Jude a thank you card, and she gives Helen real good advice. Tommy comes back on as a producer.
And that's the episode.
That is the episode.
What did you have for the episode theme? I had that it was kind of about choices and the consequences of choices.
Yeah.
Because Jude basically chooses to fail her exam. I mean, she's a musician. She's just being stupid she doesn't care, so she chooses to fail. She
Right.
chooses to make it up to the girl at the school.
Mm-hmm. Well, she
She
even chooses to make that first comment to her.
Yeah, she gets to choose her maths her tutor to get her grades up, and then in the studio she gets to choose what microphone she uses, and then at the end her producer.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start from the beginning. I mean, she's just not interested in passing her exams, even her music one, which I really struggle with her immaturity. Like, I know she's only 17, but come on, it's just like she's like, oh, I'm a big rock star now. I don't care about school. It just that annoys me.
Yes.
It's an annoying way to start the episode. I'm just like, oh, this one is gonna annoy me.
My thing is, I think Jude is really immature in season 2, but this episode just highlights just how immature she is.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I don't know, just saying school's for losers and all of that stuff. It's just
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's because I'm watching it in my 30s now, but
Yeah.
I don't remember it bugging me as much as it did this time.
Right.
But
Well,
then,
it's like now that I have a college degree and I've been through high school, and I'm like, you just don't say shit like that.
no, even if, I mean, we all go through phases where we don't want to go to school or college or whatever, but you show up and you do it,
Yeah.
But then interestingly, there's like a juxtaposition about the fact that she's only 17 when Tad Thompson is trying to style her new album cover, and he wants to put her naked and muddy on the cover, and I'm like, dude, she's 17.
She's 17.
So I thought that was an interesting, like, polar opposite example of the fact that she is only 17.
Right.
I mean, the whole it's going to be in the school newspaper about her grade, and I find it hard to believe that the newspaper is going to be able to be read all over the world. Like, isn't it just a school newspaper? But I love Jamie and Patsy in that scene. They're so funny.
Yes.
They always just add like
Jamie and
comedic
Patsy
value.
were my saving grace in that scene.
Same, yeah. And then interestingly with Patsy, she's struggling with Jamie wanting to do well at G major in this episode. So he's wanting to do well, impress Liam, have a good job, and she just wants to hang out and mess around. Do we know how old Patsy is meant to be?
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's really said. I always got the feeling she was, I don't want to say like too old, but maybe 31 or younger.
Yeah, I have no idea. Maybe we'll find out as it goes on. But I just find it weird that she's wanting to just mess around. I mean, Patsy's the kind of person that doesn't care about recording an album or anything.
Yeah.
But Jamie wants to do good, and I don't blame Jamie for wanting to do well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's hard to get a job at a record label, and the fact that he has one, I mean, go for it.
Yeah, very hard. And I think part of it too is I think that Jamie just wants Patsy to be proud of him and supportive of him.
Yeah. Yeah, even if you don't agree with someone's corporate job, so to speak, if you love them, you'll support them no matter what.
Exactly.
And she just sees it as one big joke, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But then we go to Jude, who's having lunch with her dad, and he's just being a dad, being concerned about her lack of focus, which I completely understand. And he says that she gets to choose a tutor to help her study. And It's interesting. Jude lets her dad know that her mum hasn't even seen this, like hasn't seen her bad grades or anything, because she's going out on dates. But she doesn't elaborate about her mum not being around. I mean, her mum was at her birthday dinner, sure, but the fact that Jude's saying she hasn't even seen anything about her bad grades, I'm like, is Jude's mum heading down the bad parenting route? I mean, we all know what happened.
It just drives me insane how checked out and how much the mom just does not care.
Yeah.
I can't stand like just parents or people in general like that.
No. It's the fact that her dad doesn't even question it. He's not like, well, why isn't your mum around? Like, she's supposed to be
And
looking
like,
after her 2 kids in the house and everything.
and based off his reaction to it, or I guess non-reaction to it, I get the feeling that Victoria's been like that for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we all know where it's headed, but we're pretending that we haven't seen the other episodes at this point.
Correct.
And then I find it interesting that we go to the studio and Quest is obviously Jude's producer now, and he's setting her up to record, and he lets her choose which microphone she wants to use, which I thought was interesting synchronicity with her dad in the previous scene, letting her choose a tutor, and Quest letting her choose a microphone. It's kind of showing that she is growing up, and her immaturity in this episode is just not reflective of that.
Yeah.
You could also argue that, has Tommy ever let her choose which microphone to use? I mean, or does he just decide?
I have a feeling that Tommy's like a very big decision maker for her.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of why she like almost struggles when Quest says, which mic do you want to use? She's like, you're letting me pick?
Yeah, she's like, I get to choose, really? But so she should. I mean, it's her album too. This is coming from someone who loves Tommy, but maybe he should let her have more decisions. And then Darius interrupts Jude's recording session, saying that she needs to do damage control for her bad grades by going to this public school that Darius donates instruments to. I kind of love that Darius is like this, like that he does charity work. It's just something you wouldn't expect.
No, like not at all. The first time we found out he was like so active in charity events and like so big into it, I was like, I did not see that coming from 8,000 miles away.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then I like that Speederman wants to come with them, but Darius chooses Tommy. And I mean, I feel like we're just headed to the end of Speederman at this point.
Yes.
Which Jude and Speed together as a couple are like brother and sister, so I don't mind that is slowly ending.
Same here.
They've always had brother and sister energy. I don't care what anyone else thinks.
Yes, they have.
So Jude goes to the school and I don't know, she's wearing an interesting outfit, very short skirt, just not really school appropriate. Again, I'm probably showing my age because I definitely would have worn that back then. To be honest, I'd probably still wear it now, but not to a school. And of course, the kids love the fact that she's there and they're more interested in asking about her life rather than her telling them how important school should be. And then obviously we have the girl who asks Jude about her career and songwriting, and Jude just shoots her down immediately. Like, I've obviously seen this episode so many times before, but I was quite surprised how harsh it came across this time.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, it's pretty harsh for a little kid. And then, of course, Tommy does what he does best and calls her out on it. lets her know how wrong she was. I mean, I
Yes,
think this
she
whole episode
I love when-
just screams like Jude's immaturity.
Yeah, it does.
Like, Jude has been that little girl who wanted to be a songwriter and has obviously made it to a certain extent. I was very surprised by her reaction. It seemed, this whole episode, she seemed kind of just out of character to me.
That's what I thought. And then, like, when she shot the guard down, like, so harshly and so quick, I'm like, have you ever been shot down like that? Has anyone ever given you that advice?
Yeah. I mean, if we think back to like episode 1, where Tommy shut her down in that first episode, she was playing her song for him and he said, no, you need to change it up, make it better. That was kind of his version of shooting her down, and she did not like that.
Right.
But I don't know. I just feel like Jude has always been a little bit immature, but this episode it just seems more turned up to 100 kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then we go to the real world, as I like to call it, where Jamie goes to Speed for relationship advice, which I find hilarious. Like, is Speed really that qualified in relationship advice? I'm not sure. His relationship is not great at the moment. But I feel like we don't have many scenes just between the two of them, and I really liked it. It was a really good scene.
Mm-hmm.
And Speed advises Jamie to be more badass. Again, is Speed really that badass? I'm not sure.
Him with his Ninja Turtle pajamas.
Yeah. Meanwhile, that Sadie lets it slip to Jude later on that night that Tommy is forever drunkenly regretful about when he quit school. And I feel like this is such a huge revelation because I feel like Jude never mentions this to Tommy again.
No, I don't think she does.
But I feel like it's a huge piece of information that we could have been discussed further down the track, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, and especially because didn't he like drop out in like grade 7 or something?
Yeah. I mean, how old are you in grade 7?
Yeah, you're like 12 or something.
I just feel like it's a pretty big piece of information and I don't think it's ever mentioned again.
I don't think it is either. But there's a lot of like little important tidbits like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting what they choose to bring up further down the track and what they just never talk about again.
Right.
Oh, but then we go to Jamie, who is trying to be his badass self, playing guitar on stage with Patsy. So funny. I swear, without this like comedic intervention this episode, it just would have been really boring.
Yes, it would have been.
However, I feel like this scene with Jamie where he's like smashing the guitar up, that also seems out of character for him. It just seems like people are not behaving in their normal ways.
No.
Like,
I feel like this was like some alternate reality.
yeah, this is just some weird just AU episode. But then Jude chooses to go back to the school and realizes how much influence she has been on the girls because she goes back and they're all in short mini skirts. But this time she decides to teach them about music and they write How I Feel together. I did like this scene. I thought it was cute. I like how they show the song coming together. I just think that such a good song could have been used a different way. Like if they'd written I'm in love with my guitar, great. That song would be perfect for like a school classroom writing situation. But How I Feel is just too good of a song to be
Right.
used, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I completely agree with that. I feel like just How I Feel was not the right song to use in this episode. And I
feel
love How I Feel.
Yeah, and I feel like How I Feel could sum up Jude's whole season 2 feelings. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it was wasted in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But then Jude does the right thing and gives Helen, that's the little girl's name, better advice than the first time, and tells her, you always have to keep going with your music and just, keep going no matter what, which I thought was good of Jude. But I also feel like if Tommy hadn't called her out, she probably wouldn't have bothered.
I don't think she would have if it wasn't for Tommy. But then again, I find myself, how many other times would Jude have not done something if it wasn't for Tommy?
True. Tommy is kind of her guidepost for a lot of things, I think.
Yeah.
And then I quite like that she chooses her album cover based on the photos taken at the school. I thought that was nice. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Jude is not the kind of artist to be naked and muddy on her album cover. Like,
No.
meanwhile, Jamie returns Speed's broken guitar, and Patsy and Jamie, do they have their first "I love you" together? Maybe. I mean, they're so cute together. I love them so much.
Yes.
Yeah, their cute little scene at the end. It's just, they could be my favorite couple after Jude and Tommy,
Mm-hmm.
And then we end the episode where Tommy gets to come back on Jude's album as her producer, and they start recording, but Tommy chooses her microphone for her. She doesn't
Yes,
get to
he
choose.
does.
Which I just thought was such an interesting ending after she had been making all of these choices this episode. And once Tommy's back in the picture, she doesn't get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the deeper meaning of that is, but I mean, like you said, I think Tommy likes to take the lead.
Right.
But she even sets him up for it. She says, so producer, which mic will we use today? She doesn't even want to choose when she's around him.
And I think some of it too is that Tommy's been in her shoes. So he's been faced where he's had every choice in the world thrown at him.
Yeah.
And he knows how much anxiety and overwhelming it can be.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially at like 17.
And I think that, not to look too deep at it, but I think Jude just trusts Tommy implicitly with his decisions, musical decisions, advice, everything. She really trusts him and knows him, and I think they know each other really well even at this point. So
yeah,
I think if you really trust someone, you just trust that they will help you to make the right choices.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the episode. Not my favorite.
Not my favorite either.
There were some good scenes for sure, and I love the song, but it's probably one of the ones I would skip, and I don't like to skip many episodes.
Mm-mm.
What did you have for your likes and dislikes?
Jude's second trip to the school. And Tommy coming back as a producer.
That was your likes?
Yes.
Yeah. What about your dislikes?
Jude's attitude towards school.
Yeah.
Telling Helen to get used to people not liking her songs, and the speed plot.
My likes, I only had one. My entire like this episode was just Patsy. She really just brought some lightness to the episode and some comic relief.
Yes.
And then my dislikes, I just disliked Jude this whole episode. I just found her immature and annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And I also disliked that Jude's mum seems to have been on a date for weeks. Like, hello, parenting. What?
Yes.
No one seems to be calling her out on it either. I'm just like, come on.
No.
What did you have for your chemistry, Cam? I always love to see if we've chosen the same thing.
When Tommy is explaining why Jude wants him back as a producer.
Is that the one on the bus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a cute scene. Oh, we have a different one then. My one is when Tommy is already back on the album, and I can't remember the exact quote, but Jude says something, and Tommy says there are a lot of inappropriate answers to that question.
I love that.
But I can't remember what Jude says first, but that's
Right.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what was your what the fuck?
I don't. Oh, well, we have to choose a chemistry cam because we can only have one on the Instagram.
Oh yeah. Oh, yours.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I have to remember what the full quote is. I wish I'd written it down. But it was just like charged with like the sexual energy that they always have together.
Yes.
What was your what the fuck moments? I only had one this episode.
I only had one, and mine was Patsy and Jamie on stage.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. I had how is Tommy a male role model in Darius's eyes when they're about to go to the school? And Darius is like, yeah, kids need male role models too. And he chooses Tommy. Like, really? Unbelievable.
That's a great one.
Who were your heroes and villains?
My hero was Tommy, and my villain was Jude.
Same for both. Yeah, Tommy's definitely the hero. He steers Jude back around this episode and helps her to see her immaturity.
Yes.
And yeah, Jude is just the villain to herself this episode. Okay, let's get into our song review for How I Feel. How many instant stars out of 10 did you give it?
I gave it 7.
Same, we're aligned. It's a really good song. I love the production and the lyrics. I think it would have scored higher if it had been used in a different way, like in a different episode.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of how they choose
that was
to
my
use the
one,
song.
like, yeah, using it in this episode was my one, like, trip up. I could, like, I'm like, you have to use probably my favorite song of the season and my least favorite episode of the season.
Do you reckon this is one of your favorite songs of the season?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Oh, that's a high.
Yeah.
I don't think it's one of my favorite. I mean, it's up there, but it really influences me how they choose to use songs in episodes. Like,
Yeah.
So that's why I only gave it a 7, because it's a very strong song, and it just the whole school
Just
thing.
not a strong episode. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Did you have anything for pop culture?
I did not.
I didn't have many. Obviously, the episode title is always a song title. So, Problem Child is a song by AC/DC from their 3rd album. And the only other pop culture I had is Sadie says there's only one R in Dirty, referencing Christina Aguilera's amazing song Dirty from her album.
Yes.
Amazing song.
Yes.
Okay. What was your favorite quote?
This actually goes back to your chemistry cam. My favorite quote of the episode is there are a lot of inappropriate answers to that question.
Ah. I love it. Well, we can have your chemistry cam then, and we can add that to the quote.
Okay.
My favorite quote was when they're at the school the first time and Tommy's standing in the hallway and he just says, I just get nervous about screaming girls who are trying to tear up my clothes.
That's awesome.
And the school bell rings and he just looks terrified. I love it. Okay, what was your hashtag iconic?
Jude's second trip to the school.
Yeah, I had just writing the song with the class. It was actually really hard to choose like an iconic moment. And I just thought, well, that montage was quite good, so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's spin the wheel for most likely to. Who's most likely to ask Google anytime they have a question?
Oh God. Hmm.
I don't think Speed.
I was thinking Speed of Wally.
Oh, Wally, yeah. Sorry, I forgot about Wally. Yes, definitely Wally. 100%. Can just see I can see the whole of like SME just using Google all the time.
Yes.
Okay. What was your episode rating out of 10 instant stars?
I gave it a 5, and I felt like that was very generous.
I gave it a 6. I was gonna give it a 5 and I was like, that seems really mean, so I'll give it a 6. I mean, it's a good episode. It's just I feel like anything that came after 209 just anything after 209 would have felt crap, I think.
Yeah.
But next episode, we are recapping season 2, episode 11, Mother's Little Helper. And from memory, I adore this episode, so I'm so excited.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for
I'm
listening.
so excited.
Sorry we've been away for so long. Life has just got in the way for both of us over the last few months. But yeah, we love everyone that listens, and we will be back next week. Bye.
Yes, love you guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Breakdown, an Instant Star Rewatch podcast. The Breakdown was produced by me, Chloe, and Neon Network Production. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and listen to all episodes of The Breakdown on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. See you next time.